joining us now, senior writer at Wired and author of the Inner Loop newsletter. Sign up for it. Jake LaHutte, former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, Jared Bernstein, and Denver Riggleman, who is still with us. All right, Jared, what's the lag normally on stuff like this?
It can be 3 to 6 months before you start seeing the price pass through, and in fact, we're there. We're now seeing tariffs pass through to consumers, not dollar for dollar. And even at the height of the pass through, back the last time Trump engaged in a trade war, it maybe got to 70–80% by now in terms of consumer pass through. We're probably around 30–40%. And my take is that we're heading for 60–70 within the next couple of months. That is 60 cents on the dollar being passed through to consumers. We see this most clearly in goods, by the way. Goods inflation, and that's exactly what's the tariffs are targeting in the most direct impact. That is now growing above trend and has been for a few months. It's not a blip, it's a trend.
Denver, you were talking about this just a moment ago. Give me a little bit more what you have about what you've experienced as a business owner.
Well, no, what he said is just dead on. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant, because what happened was that we knew the tariffs were coming. We got the email last week, right, for our whiskey distillery that we were having a 14% initial increase in our glass, but we're going to have another 25% increase in the next 30 to 60 days. And what's happening, you're seeing this graduated hit, right, from the wholesalers and the producers to us like this, where we're also a producer, but for all those raw materials and supply chain. And people are like, well, Denver, what does that do to your prices? Well, the thing is, there's a 34% bottle tax also in Virginia and another 6% of additional taxes. So for every bottle we sell of our distillery, there's a 40% tax. So what happens is we just can't have a one-to-one growth in whatever we do for our wholesale costs. So if the bottle goes up 60 cents, we have to charge $1.20 more or $1.10 more in order to make up those costs, right, to make sure we just break even. It's not even a one-to-one when you're talking about supply chain issues and you're talking about taxes on goods at the retail level that you're producing as also as a producer. So this is exactly right. There's so many issues on that downstream effect when it comes to tariffs, and it's just a massive tax, on consumers. And I don't know how to, like my wife and I were talking about, we have, 25 people we take care of. So what do, right? Do you cut labor? Do you raise prices? Do you take out product lines? We have to make those decisions over the next 60 days.
These are hard decisions. And if people like Denver Riggleman are having them, other people are having them as well, they're business owners. Voters are going to start having these conversations about what they can afford and what they cannot afford. Their belt will be tightened. Wages aren't going up at this rate. So is there any concern, any fear, any worry from Republicans or anyone at the White House?
Yeah, so that's the weird divide that, that I get into here in this week's newsletter, which is basically that in the White House, to be there in the first place, you basically have to be a true believer on tariffs. That's kind of a non-negotiable thing. Same with January 6th.
So don't even question it.
Right. Now, without getting too much into sourcing, I talked to folks who served in the first administration, and these are not like, never Trump Republicans trying to find a gig outside of the party. They want to have a future in Republican politics, and they're sitting there looking at this going like, is anyone going to say something at some point? So the real grind of the problem for Trump, I think, comes down to the fact that, look, at a certain point, you've got this off-ramp. It's been there the whole time, and we've seen him do that with the whole taco thing of you can keep punting, to use the metaphor of the toothpaste in the tube. There's that little pocket of air left in there. The deadline with China has been extended to November, but ultimately, they're going to keep going through with this, and then the labor market is the other big concern that my sources have been bringing up on this.
So, Jared, I think this is an interesting question for you. You experienced what it was like in the White House, overseeing what was a pretty good economy on paper, but you had to contend with the bad vibes economy, the feeling that people had that things weren't going right. The economy is still chugging along relatively well, but there is a consumer confidence drop. The prices are starting to go up. It's not like the economy has suddenly, soared over the past few months, but the vibe shift doesn't seem to be quite as people don't seem to be blaming Trump for the economy the way that they were trying to blame President Biden. How do you try to understand that as an economist?
Well, Trump is actually pretty underwater on the economy, and I think he's sinking lower because I think the thing that was behind the vibes, the negative vibes, more than almost anything, was the price level. By the way, that's different from inflation. Inflation is how much prices go up every month or every year. The price level is what things cost. And back then, when I was in the White House, people remembered what things used to cost pre-pandemic, and damn it, they wanted their old prices back. The worst thing you can do to people who are experiencing that affordability vibe is to raise their prices. In that sense, really, if Trump had looked into a bucket of policies and thought, here's the one I want to keep furthest away from the White House, it would have been sweeping tariffs. Because what did they do? Exactly what you've heard in this conversation so far. They actually raise prices. They make it harder for the Fed to cut interest rates so they don't help you in the housing market or with your auto loans or credit loans. They're just pushing hard in the wrong direction. And I enjoyed the conversation you were just having because in their alternative reality, none of this matters. But the actual reality is knocking hard on the door of the alternative one. We see that now in the hard data. So it's going to be increasingly tough for them to sustain that sort of false reality that wherein they reside.
There's a Fed meeting tomorrow, right, Jared? And what do you expect out of it?
Well, the Fed is meeting this week in Jackson Hole. Tomorrow is Chair Powell's big speech. And what I expect is based on the fact that the labor market is softer than the last time he talked about this, I expect a bit more leaning into a potential rate cut in their mid-September meeting.